Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of the Abnormal Pictures Podcast. My name is Steven, that is Christian, and today we have a long-awaited for episode. We have been talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day since we started the podcast and how much we anticipated seeing this movie. We both got to see it on the 30th, on the opening, basically preview day. He got to see it earlier in the day. I didn't even get to watch the reaction that you sent to me, just with the stuff that I've had going on outside of the podcast. But I want to hear your thoughts and how you place Brand New Day among other Spider-Man projects. How do you feel about the film? I know you have some things to say about a particular character, which, by the way, let's say, big spoiler warning, because we're going right into spoilers, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, do not watch this episode if you have not watched that movie because we're diving into spoilers.
Yeah, so I guess with that note, let's start off with how do you feel about Sadie Sink being Jean Grey? Like I've been fucking saying, I knew it. I knew it.
I mean, I think every part of me knew it as well, and I just didn't want to accept it because that is one of my complaints is introducing Jean Grey in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how they should have done it, but for her portrayal of Jean Grey was damn near perfect, and I know we're gonna get the Phoenix at some point because Sadie Sink is a phenomenal actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like her acting in this movie was in some parts top tier. So her being Jean Grey, perfect casting, shouldn't have happened in a Spider-Man movie, but it did. They made it work for the story, which I'm happy for. There's some things tied to her being Jean Grey, like her sister being a telepath as well.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that. That did not happen in it happened in the comics, but she didn't have powers in the comics, so I wasn't a fan of them changing her origins in that way. But they also made it work for the story, having motivation behind Jean's character, because in the comic books, all of Jean's family gets slaughtered.
Mm.
Like, that's the best way I can put that. They got slaughtered. So her not having family made sense, and her sister being someone that motivated her and pushed her to become a
Well,
hero
not a
because
hero by any sense.
she's not there yet. She's
Spider-Man
not
is
there yet.
Spider-Man is the one who is turning her into a hero.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spider-Man turned her into a hero. Her sister kind of influenced her into using her powers and
Yeah.
how to use them. We get to see just how powerful Jean Grey is going to be,
Yeah. Big time.
and and her powers are definitely influenced by her emotions, which is why I know at some point they're going to do the Phoenix storyline again, which it happens every X-Men adaptation. You can't really do Jean Grey
Yeah.
without the Phoenix. Unfortunately, they're synonymous with each other. You have to have them. They did it good though. Like Jean Grey was awesome in that movie. And it's funny when watching the movie when they just said, "Yeah, her name's Jean Grey." You would have thought watching that movie that they weren't hiding who that character was for the entire promotion because they just said her name all willy-nilly. There was no
Yep.
build up, no suspense, nothing. Like, "Oh, it's Jean Grey." I'm
Yep.
like, I literally in the theater, I audibly said, "This is bullshit."
Yeah, I was my kind of thought process with this is with having her being Jean Grey. Obviously, we're in the mutant era now of the MCU, and this is the
Yes.
kickoff to that because of the fact that it's introduced again in a Spider-Man movie. I don't think that it detracted too much from the story. I will say, and I texted you to this, that it felt weird to include so much about Jean Grey in the Spider-Man movie, but you have to establish the character. And that's the difficulty when
Yeah.
introducing someone as important and influential as a character like her in a Spider-Man movie. That to me was like, okay, so now we have to go and show like the flashbacks to understand what her motivations are, why she's doing this, and we only really got a little tidbit about her, like their foster kids. You know, the mom didn't want them. That's what they say in the movie. And then the sister having powers and Jean having not manifested the powers at that point or had the ability to
Yeah.
use them when her sister was abducted in the park. The whole thing with VMAX, and I do want to point out something. From the jump, I have been saying the DODC is the main villain of this movie. And I
Yep.
was 100% correct in that. That being said, Metzger is responsible for the death, at least the supposed death, obviously. You know, you see the VMAX that she's referencing and that she dies, but he says, a contribution by sacrifice or whatever. Doesn't necessarily mean shit because, it's Marvel. It's, a comic book related project. So you never know until there's a for real body or some bullshit. She could always still be out there and show up in one of the future, X-Men project in some capacity. You don't know. Yeah. That being said, though, the establishing part of this is that Metzger captured Jean's sister. That is the whole point of the movie, is that Jean doesn't know that her sister is supposedly dead. And then is trying to find her and, help her escape and release her, and at the same time take as many DODC people out as possible. I will say, it is very difficult to be sympathetic to a character that is eventually supposed to be a hero when that character is ruthlessly murdering everybody. Because there are random people that she's inhabiting, like the guy who was in front of the taxi that she just jumped out and had him kill himself, basically. The whole, pretty much she kills so many people in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's another reason that I think they can do the Phoenix so well is because we've gotten to see her murderous side now. We got to see her have no regard for human life, and that's perfect for a Phoenix storyline. We know she can do that now. Because I don't think we've gotten a good live adaptation of the Phoenix at all yet.
Yeah. No, because they only had the one really from Fox that I remember being seen. Obviously, we have seen it in X-Men 97. We've seen tidbits and pieces, and the original had it as well, not the re-release, but the original had the Phoenix as well. I'm correct in that, right? It's been a while.
Yeah, so The Last Stand was the Phoenix storyline for that dumbass trilogy. And then the most recent was Sophie Turner. They did the Phoenix in that as well, which it was dog shit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sadie Sink can do it though. And I hope Marvel, when they do decide, I hope it's not something they jump into. And I really like that they established that there is superpowered beings. And we kind of talked about it, what if the DODC has been hiding super, metahumans for a while now?
Yeah.
And they set it up to where that is very possible. That's what happened. And obviously we see Jean Grey on a bus. My assumption is she's probably going
Upstate
to the
New
X
York.
Mansion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
But this is why I'm okay with this. Jean was not the first X-Men member. She was part of the original X-Men team, but she wasn't the first one that joined. It was Cyclops was the first one recruited. I don't remember if the Angel was the fourth or the third, but the original four there was Iceman, Beast, Cyclops, Angel, and then Jean Grey came along. So I'm okay if they do it that way, because from what I've seen, they want to do the original lineup, but we also just gotta. I won't jump too far into this, but we also just got a Emma Frost casting, which that could be done without her being part of the X-Men as well.
Yeah.
But they did a good job handling Jean Grey. I'm never going to agree with her being introduced in the Spider-Man movie. That's unfortunate, but I'm just never going to agree with that. But they handled her well. She's going to play a really good Jean Grey. We got to see a dark murderer side of her, and we got to see a human side of her when she finally connected with Peter.
Yeah.
And, we got to see essentially her keep Peter alive. Because he was going to die if she wasn't using her powers to save him.
And this was such a big thing when I'm sitting in the theater, because I think with all of us having seen the rumors or potential leaks at the time and saying that, well, the ending of this movie is that Peter is probably going to die and be brought back via symbiote, it was a very different ending to that, but it left you in suspense, and they emulated the Punisher comic where he's holding Peter, bringing him into the hospital. You really think, oh, he might die. But when she had manifested those powers, I thought he was going to die. I really did. I thought that maybe he was going to be kept alive. But it ended up being more of a positive ending, in which, fucking John Bernthal was the best part of this movie. It really was. To me, I love Peter. I love Tom Holland did a fantastic job. Jean did a great job. Sadie Sink. God damn it, Punisher stole every single scene he was in. He was my favorite part of this movie.
I'll jump more into that later because we're gonna do like more dives, but I'm kind of sticking to where we're at. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was stressing when he got shot. Like, I was like, oh, he's fine, and then Sadie with the blood on her hands, and I'm like, oh
Oh, I
fuck,
knew
and
he
I
got
was
hit
stressing, bro.
immediately. I knew he was hit.
Faith looked at me and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, bro, I was
He's gonna
stressed.
die.
I, I'm also gonna say this because I had to pee 10 minutes going into this movie. I sat through the entirety and the end credit scene before I got to go pee. I was hurting by the end of this movie.
Yeah, I peed before I
But
got
yeah,
in there. I made sure I wasn't getting up.
we had we had all this popcorn and the baby with us, so it was like I wanted to get to our seats. But yeah, the that part had me very much stressing. Um, I'm gonna jump into something. I don't know if Tom Holland will ever see this podcast, but if he does, thank you. I fucking love you. This was the best Peter Parker movie we've ever gotten,
But there was
by
so
far.
little Peter Parker in it too, which was amazing. He was almost always in the Spider-Man outfit for this movie.
Yes, but it was crazy because yes, Spider-Man was basically in all the movie, but it was a Peter Parker movie.
Yeah.
This is why, to me, that aspect, this is one of the best Spider-Man movies we've ever gotten. But the things they got wrong, they got very wrong.
Yeah.
As I've already discussed, the whole introducing Jean Grey, it was wrong to do that. But they did it right, so I'm trying to look past it eventually.
Yeah.
But yes, Tom Holland's acting was amazing in this movie as
Yes.
well. He really hit on the emotional scenes. There's a lot of like really hard hitting scenes in this movie.
Yes.
Um, and this movie is the reason people love the Spider-Man character is because the internal struggles that Peter Parker has as a human being. Like his struggles were real human struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Like yes, he's evolving, his arachnid hormones are evolving and everything, but as a real human struggle he was having, he's changing and he's struggling with those changes. That is a real human thing. And it's synonymous with when you're a teenager, when you're moving into adulthood. These are real things you struggle with, and not in the sense that he does, but that is why Peter is such a lovable character, is because he has these internal struggles that every human has.
Yeah. I did want to say before we do fully move out of the Jean Grey thing, and I've said this
Okay.
in the past, I have this notion when I watch a comic adaptation into a movie with these characters that so long as there is justice done to the character, you can change the story, you can change these things in
Yeah.
order to make them fit the universe, which we've there were things that I disagree with in the original trilogy for Tom Holland, where I felt that he wasn't so much a Peter Parker, more as the Iron Man Jr. clone, basically that we had for a couple of those movies, and that was integral. But with Jean Grey, again, having the core of a character and being able to change things from what's in the comics, that's okay, so long as that character is still represented well, which Sadie Sink played that character very well. So I don't have so much an issue with that. I understand where you're coming from with it being put in the Spider-Man movie. However, to be fair, Jean Grey, let's be honest, wasn't exactly the biggest, most popular X-Men character when she debuted or was released into this. Or into the Marvel comics. She for a lot of the time was used mainly as a token woman character on that team, and until
Yeah.
the Phoenix, she is overly kind of a boring character. Just gonna throw it out
Yeah.
there, she is. So having her
She,
have a reason to do the things that she's doing in this movie and to still be a big part of it, I'm okay with her being shown in this movie or introduced.
yeah, I agree. And that was one of the big things too. Like, you're right. She wasn't really a big character until they did the Phoenix storyline.
Yeah,
Because we didn't really know much about her. Like, we really didn't. And to be fair, we didn't know much about the other characters either.
yeah.
That was one thing I think the original X-Men run didn't get right, is they kind of just
Come on.
frozen. I hope. Okay, we're good
We're good. We're good.
again. We're good. If you guys missed the lag, it's back, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But yeah. So I agree. We finally like they introduced us to an already fleshed out version of Jean that is going to join the X-Men.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting more casting announcements in the coming weeks. They still haven't officially put her as Jean Grey because obviously the movie just came out. But I'd probably say maybe a month's time, maybe even less, we're going to get more announcements. Like I said, we just got the Emma Frost one. I think that's almost basically official at this point.
Yeah, I believe like Discussing Film posted it as well, and I trust them as a
Yeah.
source. Um, yeah, so again, that reiterates to me that most of those Fox X-Men characters are going to die in Doomsday and Secret
Oh
Wars,
yeah.
which we've already
Oh
talked
yeah.
about. But the fact that we already have a casting for Jean Grey and then for Emma Frost, and we'll again, as you said, we're going to continue to get those announcements in the coming weeks. It means that we're wiping the slate clean basically on all of those Fox characters except
Yeah.
for probably Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Those are probably going to be the two that we get that remain. That's going to be it.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
so then to kind of re-go back into some things, I know you had an issue with the way that the hand was represented as well
Yes.
in this movie. And
Yes.
I felt the same way because the hand to me is not just some sort of... I texted you this. They felt like goons, but like elevated goons for hire in this movie. They were used less as like an organization. They were just used as kind of fodder villains for what was the coolest fight of the movie. It was the best shot, had the best action out of the movie, but that was a weird sort of like, oh yeah, they're just working for the DODC now. Now, is it possible that they were doing that as a means to an end to bring back Elektra or something like that? You never know. That could be a possibility. But
Well, he kind of explained it in the movie. He's like, well, when you took down the hand, also Spider-Man took down
just
the
took down the
hand.
hand. Where is that? Where is that?
Bro, they just threw that in the movie like, yep, he did this. And then
You got a ghost in there?
sorry, my kids were just
There goes the mag again.
down the hand. And he's like, it turns out these were just some young kids that needed some guidance, and now they work for us.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? I said, that's the dumbest fucking shit ever.
I
Like that
agree.
shit was so dumb. And that's another reason I don't think this is a perfect Spider-Man movie. They did so much right, but they did some very wrong things in treating the hand like that. Unless, like you said, the hand could be just sleeper agents for the DODC.
Yeah, I mean that's
That
exactly.
could,
But I feel like there has to be. But the problem is they did a lot of this really haphazard stuff with characters. Another thing that we
mhm.
were very wrong on was Tombstone was in the movie for 20 seconds. He
Oh
was
yeah,
one of those.
yeah,
Yeah, Christian was
yeah.
like, he's gonna be pulling the strings in the other podcast, and then
I
I'm
mean,
like,
I
he's
feel
just
like
holding
that.
them there. It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
I feel like
go
a
ahead.
lot of people started to have that thought process was that he was going to be because they teased him as a bigger part of the movie for sure.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of the people that played the villains that were in the montage were not happy. They're like, we shot a bunch more scenes.
and it all got
Like
cut.
it was,
Yeah,
it was going to be a montage scene. Like you guys have to understand. Like
yeah.
I get their frustration though. They got to play villains and they barely got anything on screen. I get it. I understand the frustration. But yeah, the montage scene was really cool. We got to see him take down some villains. I don't agree with the hand, but it worked for the movie because, like you said, we did get one of the best fight scenes.
Yeah.
Um, we
And
got to see,
I was gonna say this is what you expected when they had the director come in from Shang-Chi, or the
yeah,
action
oh yeah,
director too from Shang-Chi come in and go through this process. You expected. And it's just funny that it had to deal with fucking ninjas again. Like the fact
right.
that it's just ninja here, ninja there. I'm good with ninjas, dog. Whatever. But yeah, what you said though, with them haphazardly just being like, oh yeah, Spider-Man just took it. Another big one. What the fuck happened on Staten Island?
They explained it. They explained it.
What did
He
they
literally
explain?
saved him from a drug dealer that was going to kill him. He said
Why,
the dude
why
was
have we
going to
not
shoot him,
seen
and
that? Why did we not see that in one last kill? What or something? What we just throw these haphazard things in. The problem is we as the audience have not seen Spider-Man take down the hand. We have not seen him interact with the hand. We didn't see anything that happened with the interaction with him and Punisher and Staten Island and all that stuff. We haven't seen that. So just throwing them
it's
in,
one of those.
I get it. Okay, you're doing
It's
this.
Budapest.
Sure, but they even went back and explained more of that in the Hawkeye show. Like, they went back and they were able to expound upon that.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
That's what
I
I'm
forgot
saying.
about that.
Like, we as an audience, like, sure, I get it. There are some things that you have to just be like, okay, for Spider-Man, right, it's like a comic where, you know, if you haven't read an issue, but you know that something has happened or whatever, you just kind of throw it in there and people are like, okay, what? And you can accept that.
Yeah.
But when the Hand has been a prominent villain group that has existed in Marvel projects for years, is an integral part for Daredevil in the original series and probably will be for Born Again Season 3 because we've seen Elektra show up in pictures on set. So, to me, it's very odd that you're taking this and just kind of, here's the DODC, they're little puppets. And then you don't explain any interaction that he's had with the Hand. And another big one, which I was bitching to you about, where the fuck was Spider-Man during the Fisk reign? We didn't hear anything about that. We didn't get anything about the Void, which you had thought maybe something was going to come up about the Void. That didn't happen. There was no mention of any other project in the Marvel Universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid stuff.
Yeah, had to grab the baby.
Yeah. But that's exactly how I feel is this felt like a project that was completely removed except for the Hulk and Punisher, but Punisher didn't feel like Punisher that we've seen in the shows, which is fine. I loved him in the movie.
Yeah.
But what is the time difference between One Last Kill and this situation right here? Because that's a very weird disconnect for the character of Punisher.
It's one of those things too, like you said, this is a standalone Spider-Man movie, in a sense. You can definitely tell, like, yes, they have MCU stuff, but it's really a standalone Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Bruce. We got a different version of Bruce and the Hulk than we've ever gotten.
Oh, it was
and
so
this
good.
This is the first one that I felt was right. Which is crazy. It happened in a Spider-Man movie.
Incredible.
In a little amount of time. Well, yeah. And then obviously said the Punisher. He was very different in this movie.
Very different.
We got to see the emotional depth that Punisher does have that we don't get to see very often. And since we're talking about the Punisher, I'm going to say this. The best part of the movie was at the end when he has the Spider-Man mask and they cut to him and he's going,
It's so good.
so good.
I know that people were upset. A lot of Punisher fans are upset about the representation of him in the movie because he is used more as a comedic sense. But to me, at the same time, when you're putting a character like Punisher in a Spider-Man film, which has never happened before, you're taking this character that is very deeply removed from Spider-Man that we've gotten on screen, and you're trying to adapt him in a way that he is manageable for the general audiences. Because if you're trying to run with the bloody, crazy Punisher, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the context of this movie for him to be there. And really, the only purpose that the Punisher serves in this movie is for comedy bits, a bit of action, but he's not doing really a whole lot to the Hulk until he gets mind control.
No.
And then, I guess after he got mind control, then he went and helped Sadie Sink. But then also, too, it's like he serves to shoot Spider-Man at the end. Like, those are the three things that he does in the movie. So I can understand why people were like, oh, but again, it's a Spider-Man movie. Why do we have to sit here and expect Punisher to be the super bloody, crazy, maniacal murderer that he is?
Right.
People have these unrealistic expectations, like we're going to have a 7-hour movie in which we can flesh out all of these different characters that we have. It's just not going to happen. Even in a 2.5-hour film, which is what this was, you don't have the ability to go and it just wouldn't make sense. You want him to fit what's going on in the movie. And they've done that with other MCU characters before in team-ups.
Yeah, it was very interesting because, like you said, you can't, but he still essentially was himself though. Like he was cussing up a storm with the cuss words he was
Yeah,
allowed to use. I think he used up every swear word that a PG-13 movie is allowed to use.
yeah,
And, like you said, he was pretty badass when he's, just guns a-blazing at the Hulk. Um, and like you said, he is the one that did shoot Spider-Man. Like,
yeah,
he had an intent, like, he was still who he is. We just got to see him fleshed out. In the comics, he has the soft spot for Spider-Man because
yeah,
that scene that he's carrying Peter, that's straight out of the comic books.
yeah,
Like he straight up carried, and it's from the Civil War line. It's when he straight up carried Spider-Man to one of the lairs. Like that's straight up out of the comic books.
yeah.
There was some really good stuff. I get it though. People don't, but also you got to realize John Bernthal is not going to put out a version of that character that he doesn't want.
Yes. Yep. And he stated that, which is exactly how we got One Last Kill and all the what we assume to be a continuation of that project with the ending of where that was at. And
Yeah.
I do want to bring up then again the Hulk. The Hulk was amazing in this movie, and it's the first time Hulk has actually won a one-on-one fight, and he did so very convincingly. It wasn't the Hulk that lost; it was Bruce Banner. Spider-Man did his whole talk no jutsu bullshit, where he's like, "Hey,
He said,
please,
Pe- he said
please."
Peter. He said Peter. He
Yeah,
said Peter. So that makes me wonder, because I actually seen a scene from Endgame. Bruce Banner was standing behind, as Smart Hulk, standing behind Peter Parker
yeah,
at the funeral scene. So he knows who Peter Parker is. But watching the movie, you almost get a sense that when he was having the conversation with Bruce Banner at the school, that
he
he knew who
knew.
he was.
I think at
Like it
that
was,
point it was more that he knew that he was referencing DNA and stuff, and Spider-Man is probably on the news for almost just fucking killing a cop because he just
yeah,
slams Scorpion into the police car.
dude.
I'm telling you, there's no reason that Matt Gargan should be alive. He is not a superpowered individual. That man had no helmet
No.
on. No helmet, by the way.
Yeah, that I thought we were gonna get. I was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, but he
But
slammed
yeah,
him into that fucking car, dude.
that scene was a very good Peter Parker scene because we get to see
Yeah, at the
like
school.
after he snaps out of it, like the
His
true remorse that
intelligence.
he had. He's
Yeah. Oh,
like, he's
yeah.
like, he's like, is she okay? I gotta, And that's when the cops like, you need to take some time for yourself.
Yeah.
It was really good. Like they did such good stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, Getting to see him go ham on the Scorpion was freaking insane. Slapping the shit out of him with it, crazy work.
Yeah, ripping it off. How strong does that scorpion tail have to be for Spider-Man to have to like struggle in his beast mode to rip the fucking thing off? Because he was pulling it real hard, dude. That's a crazy
Yeah.
suit right there. But yeah, and a lot of people, there were people who were like, maybe wanted more Scorpion out of this, and we really didn't get a ton. We got the fight scenes with him, but in one of those fight scenes,
Yeah.
he's being controlled by Sadie Sink. That
Yeah.
being said, you were correct in that this was not their first meeting in the film. The first meeting was when he launches him up with the tail in the snow and, hits him
Yeah.
there. That we see that in the villain montage. And then he plays that role of like, it's weird that that Jean Grey was trying to use Scorpion for the purposes of like DODC. That felt weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't
I th
understand.
I think she knew that he was getting transferred because he was getting transferred even before that was planned. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
she
yeah.
had, I can't think of the word, but she knew it was going to happen. She's like, all right, I'm gonna grab Scorpion because she knows, she probably knew that he had a lair somewhere where he was hiding that uniform because obviously it got stolen from him.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
But yeah,
But yeah, it was great.
they didn't spend a ton of time with the character of Scorpion. We saw a little bit, and I think Scorpion is not a character that I would list as like a big bad of a Spider-Man movie because he's normally getting his ass whooped, right? Like
Yeah.
anytime that we see Scorpion, he's getting his ass whooped in most iterations.
Except when he was Venom.
Yeah. So I'm not super upset about that. Again, I am kind of upset that Tombstone was down. They made Tombstone look like an idiot because what are you gonna do dropping Spider-Man? How is that gonna? He fucking swings, dog. Oh, how long will it take you to fall? And then he just jumps over him and fucking webs him. Like, what are we doing? That was dumb. That was
What a
dumb.
waste. What a waste.
What a waste
I
of
hope we see him
Tombstone.
somewhere eventually down the line because that was such a perfect casting for Tombstone.
Yeah, I think he would be great if they do go ahead with Miles. I think or Luke Cage coming back. I think it would be a great character to
Yeah.
have, especially for the Harlem situation. You know what I mean? So yeah. So that being said, with all of that, I still cannot put this over Spider-Man 2 as a film. I still think Spider-Man 2 is the best movie out of all of them.
I think I agree too.
Yeah, and I was hoping that we were gonna get a little bit more, but I think that the thing is with Brand New Day, again, putting in a character like Jean Grey and having her be the main villain, even though it's really the DODC is the main villain,
Yeah.
it's a lot. And the representation of Peter, as we've been saying, has been the best, I think, out of any of the films. I think Tom Holland is the definitive version of the character. I still think that Spider-Man 2 is a better movie overall. In terms of the
Yeah.
heart of the film. And I wanted to mention this. The heart of the character is represented in Brand New Day. Like, you can look at this and be like,
Yes.
Tom Holland obviously did the legwork as he said he did to go through and understand why people do love the character of Spider-Man. Listening to podcasts, listening to people who are, reading comics and all this different stuff. It has a genuine interest and care for the character, which is again exactly what you want when you have someone, especially as big as a Spider-Man, right? Which is why a lot of people love Andrew Garfield, even though those two movies aren't the best. You know, people absolutely love him because he loves the character, and his performance is very telling of that. Now, let's talk about one of the craziest scenes, which was when Jean Grey manipulated MJ or got into her head because the audience went fucking bananas at my theater. A lot of people were doing like the when she start like MJ is talking like, "Oh my god, I remember you," and that switch. Zendaya did a great job acting there, and I don't say that a lot about Zendaya, but that was a really good scene. That was a good scene.
Yes, it was. I think they made the right decision with the MJ. Like, yes,
Yes.
she knows who he is now. I've seen speculations that she actually remembers Peter Parker by
When
the end of
she's
the movie because
crying
she's
because of
messing.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because it's really hard for me to decipher how that all worked out. I don't I don't think she remembers him though. Like she knows who he is and everything, and she knows that she used to know him, but she doesn't have those memories.
Yeah.
Now everyone's saying, well, what if Jean Grey put them back in? I don't know.
That's what people are
I
saying, yeah.
think because, like I said, I feel like the Hulk well, Bruce Banner ended up remembering Peter Parker when he said it's Peter or whatever. And then obviously at the end of the movie, Ned remembers Peter,
Yes.
but he doesn't remember him by name. It was by an action. They did the handshake, and that's
Yeah.
what made him be like, oh, Peter. I don't think MJ can remember Peter unless there's an action, which it could have happened when they kissed, but obviously that was Sadie Sink's Jean Grey controlling her at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she doesn't actually remember him in the movie. I'm curious to see what they do moving forward. I hope, as much as I love Zendaya, I hope they move on from that and Spider-Man gets a new love interest.
Yeah, for the first
Either the
time, except for Gwen Stacy, yeah. Could
yeah,
even
like a
be
Gwen
Gwen Stacy.
Stacy,
Yeah.
Felicia,
I want a
or
black
even
cat, man. I want a
yeah,
black
oh,
cat.
dude, I do. Or even like a real Mary Jane. Like that would work too.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do in the next movie. Obviously, they said at the end Spider-Man will return. We don't know when, but we're getting another Spider-Man.
Yeah, the one of the big things when it comes to Ned, the reason why I found it more believable is because Ned is shown to have magical powers or the capability of using magic. We
Yeah.
saw that with the portals. So that to me signifies that's why he could remember. That's how I interpreted it. That with doing the action and something clicked there. But yeah, what you were saying in terms of Jean Grey is that she in the comics has the ability to restore memories. And the thought process that a lot of people have is that with her having gone inside of MJ's head and taken control, that combined with then that explosion that she had where she's stopping everybody in the city, that unlocked something for MJ that allowed her to remember, which is why she was crying there when nobody else was.
Yeah.
So that was like the hypothesis that people are coming up with online. That being said, again, I agree. I think we've had too much of MJ, and I think that when you wipe a clean slate, and I did want to say this too, I'm glad that they didn't use this as a way to completely just revert Tom Holland back to the MCU first trilogy one. They allowed him to remain Spider-Man and to be so in a private way. They did so in a way that still kept MJ kind of pushed away, in a sense. The heart-wrenching "I don't love you" was just like it's perfect for the movie, because if they had given her those memories back, I was actually upset when they were on that rooftop and I didn't realize that it was Jean controlling her yet. I was very irritated because I told you if they were going to do it, I would have wanted it to be at the end of the film regardless. But the fact that they chose willingly to not have her remember Peter, to not have those memories, and to use that as a plot twist on that rooftop scene was very good. It's classic what you would see in a Spider-Man comic. It's that type of shit because the writers hate Peter. So that's what we get. You don't get the happy, I mean, he gets the happy ending, at the end of the movie with Punisher grunting. But it's just fantastic that they allowed Peter to remain pushed away and removed instead of having him thrown back in. You remember that scene in the trailer where the DODC is scanning him? We know it's the DODC now. A lot of people thought that they were just trying to make a new costume and that it was like Bruce Banner. There was speculation that Banner, we're happy, or somebody was going to be making him a nano.
You were someone that was mad about that because you're like, please don't do that. Yeah,
and they didn't. Cool. And again, I am completely comfortable with Peter having this equipment in his place that he can scavenge these things and put them together, and he's super hyper intelligent, which we know about the character. We've always known that.
Yeah.
It's not how he affords anything is a completely different question, because that man, where's your money, dog?
I'm pretty sure that room was literally like, remember they said like no one uses this room?
I think abandoned. Yeah.
They
were using it for storage. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool because I don't think he has to pay for it because it's just supposed to be like a storage area.
Okay, but how many flowers does this man buy in the film? Where do you get the money for the flowers?
Where does he get this money from? From feet pics.
You remember I sent that to you? That was so fucking funny. And I didn't have an issue with it was meant for comedy, with the whole Yelena stuff. I didn't mind it. It was kind of fucking out of place, though. You know what I mean? It felt a little out of place.
It was cool because they showed that, yes, this is still an MCU movie, but they didn't use it as a takeover. Yeah. They just had her as like a throwaway part, because she would be someone that has information. She used to be a spy. She can get information. So
and she's a part of the new Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool why they explained why they don't interfere with people's problems. Big potatoes, small potatoes.
So
I thought
stupid.
That was it was a great explanation though, because now we understand that yes, they do know about these smaller issues as well, but they're smaller issues.
You know what's funny is what's going around on social media right now is the clip of her saying big potato, small potato. The small potato is quote unquote of fucking Peter fighting Thanos. And the big potato is them pushing over the rock in Thunderbolts. And not Sentry or Void. It's just them pushing the rock. It's so funny. But I'm like, dude, this is big potatoes, bro. They just let the Hulk loose. The Hulk just went on a rampage. This is big potatoes. What are you talking about?
It's very, I really like this movie. I enjoyed it so much. even the things that like I hated, I didn't let it bother me because I'm like, listen, every movie isn't going to be perfect, and they have to make this movie fit in the MCU as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that's what was cool about when we got the original Spider-Man movies is it didn't have to fit in any narrative.
Yeah.
It could just be its own story. And that's why I think Spider-Man 2 is always going to stand out the test of time. Something I've been seeing that I don't agree with was that the last Spider-Man movie was better than this.
No. Not even close. And
No.
I think again it's fan service and catering to the fans
Yep.
because that's what No Way Home was. No Way Home was a big fan service movie. It was designed
Yeah.
as a way to get people's asses in chairs in a time when movie theaters were not doing very well financially. People went to go see that movie because of COVID and everything that happened with that. People went to go see that movie. Everybody knew
Yeah.
that all these characters were coming back from other things. It was a money printing machine movie. That's what it was.
Yeah.
The plot wasn't fucking great. It really wasn't. The
Yeah.
main villains are villains that we've already seen. They didn't introduce anything new into, but it was a fun movie. It's a fun action flick. I saw it 3 times just to go and sit and
Yeah.
watch characters that you love. This movie is much more fundamentally a story written about Spider-Man versus a movie that is designed to get people in for, fan service. It's a
Yeah.
very different, and it's a better overall film. Turn my mic off.
One thing I want to talk about too from this movie was I just blanked on what I was going for.
It'd be like that. It'd be like that
Oh
sometimes.
no. Oh no. I'll let you continue. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, with No Way Home, I mean, this movie is completely outperformed it in numbers. Did you get it back? It looked like you just had something
Yep.
click there. There you
Yep.
go.
So something I want to really emphasize that I don't think people fully understood or got or anything was how important Aunt May is. Like I know
Mm,
everyone's mad because she was like a focus in these movies and Uncle Ben wasn't. But in the comics, outside of Uncle Ben getting killed, he wasn't a huge factor in Spider-Man.
yeah.
Aunt May was. And
Yes.
they really used her perfectly in this movie. Like her spirit, and she's the reason that Spider-Man comics went downhill is because he decided to save her life. That was really a huge downfall for Spider-Man. But her essence has always been one of Peter's biggest motivational factors, and how they used her was perfect. And how they're going to continue, like she is now Jean Grey, almost like Jean Grey's motivational factor too. Like I don't think people understand the importance of Aunt May in the comic books, just because what happened with Uncle Ben is very overshadowing. But
Yeah.
I love how they used Aunt May in this movie. Like it was perfect.
Well, and that's the thing, when they are rewriting the character of Jean Grey into fitting this movie, she literally is just the representation of Peter Parker, but if Peter Parker had telekinetic powers. Like, if you take the character, and one without a mom, right? This is someone
Yeah.
who hasn't had a family, and we know that Peter had his Aunt May. And, I guess maybe not Uncle Ben, who fucking knows, according to the Russos anymore. But that being said, is that she is the motherly figure that influences his character into being the great power, great responsibility in this universe. And so having her be or having Jean be a reflection of what Peter's life kind of is at that point, someone who's alone, someone who is completely shut out from the rest of the world. But he had that motivation growing up, whereas she didn't, except for her sister. You're putting essentially the same character, the traits that make those characters between Jean and Spider-Man, and
Hmm.
the replication or the difference is that the sister has been captured and taken away from Jean, whereas Aunt
Yeah.
May was able to be there for Peter, right?
Hmm.
So that was done very well, and I don't think it's so much that Aunt May is going to be the motivation for Jean becoming who she is. I think it's now it's
Yeah.
going to be Peter in by extension of Aunt May and
Hmm.
what was in his head. So I think that him saving her life after saying "You have me" in that scene, like "You have me, I'm here."
Hmm.
That's the first time that Jean has ever fucking heard that. So
Yeah.
and you know
Dude.
what? I'm glad that I didn't feel a smidgen. There was no romantic thing there at all. That
No.
I would have been pissed. I would have been pissed because you could have very
Yeah.
easily done that in that situation, but they chose not to. So, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about how fucking strong his spider senses are? He's being mind control frozen, and he was able to snap out of it and fucking save her life from the Punisher.
Well, to be fair, we did see him do this in No Way Home against Doctor Strange when he's
Yes.
being pushed out. But he also he's given a power boost in this movie with his arachnid,
Yeah.
the ability to get the organic webbing and all this stuff. He's way stronger. And when that was a big part of the fight scene with the hand too, is that he was getting belt to
Yeah.
ass, dog. They're whooping his ass in there, bro. And then he finally accepted. He took his inhibitor chip, which we have to talk about too.
Oh God. No, no.
He took the inhibitor chip off, and then he was able to harness that super arachnid power that he had and accept that I'm not going to be Peter Parker or Spider-Man, I'm both, which was the hardest line in the fucking movie. He's both of
Yeah.
them.
That was one of my favorite parts because it really emphasized Peter Parker as a character. Like he can be both, which has always been an internal struggle in the comics,
Yeah.
is how does he fit both? But so we're gonna hop into that inhibitor chip now.
Yeah.
We have the seeds planted for an X-Men versus Avengers movie.
Yep.
The seeds have been planted because we know that is going to be used eventually against the mutants.
Yeah.
And it's weird because Jean's going to be the one that's going to be in the middle of it because she knows Spider-Man created it,
Yep.
but she also knows Spider.
that he's a good person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the inhibitor chip, it's just like they made it a point of emphasis to say that with Banner, when they're discussing it, theoretically for having a universal inhibitor chip, it's like you're talking
Yeah.
about something that could completely depower people. And so
Yeah.
that, they were very adamant and clear about putting that in the movie, does establish what's probably going to be what happens moving forward in the MCU version of the mutants and X-Men. Now, is this going to play a part in I don't think it's going to play a part until after Secret Wars. I don't think they'll do anything with that until that point when we have more X-Men that are introduced, or mutants in general that are introduced into the MCU. That being said, though, Spider-Man is also in an interesting position because yes, he created the technology, but also he doesn't have the X factor, like the X gene, but he is considered to be a mutant. He's mutating, and that they've made that a point of emphasis in the movie as well. So what's probably going to happen is whenever they do another Spider-Man film, it probably will have. I think he's going to be a very integral part for the mutants. Just because of this being... Yeah, I know. You're not going to like that. That being said, the public is probably going to view him... Because here's what's going to happen. It's always the same thing for the X-Men and mutants. The general public fucking hates the mutants. All the time. And to be fair, in the comics, Spider-Man goes, yeah, because you guys are dicks. Which is true most of the time for the X-Men. But that being said, the public generally hates mutants and mutant kind, and that's a lot of the fundamentals. Is like there's a racist element. That's a lot of the mutant related comics. When people look at Spider-Man now with organic webbing, not web shooters, when they see, he's probably gonna be. That's how you get the public to hate Spider-Man again. That's how you do it. And it's gonna be J. Jonah Jameson leading the fucking charge, most likely, pushing the mutant.
Give me those pictures.
Yeah. I'm kind of bummed we didn't get him here, but, even just a reference for the Bugle, we didn't get it. It is what it is. But yeah, so I do think with the inhibitor chip, that's going to be a big part. And to me, it just kind of signifies, I sent you a picture, like a meme of like Magneto and he finds out. And to me, I think it's going to be probably a Magneto-related thing. I think he's going to be... Because he normally is the guy... He's championing the mutants and stuff like that. He's probably going to be the guy who starts trying to lay belt to ass on Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm fucking sure. The Brotherhood of Mutants is going to, destroy Spider-Man.
Yeah. And so, I guess, let's talk about the post-credit scene. and the appearance of what people assume to be people are talking. There are two different trains of thought here. One is that this is Battle World or something like that, in which you have Spider-Man there. Now, to me, nothing makes sense with Tom Holland being over there. To me, it's another character. To me, it is a Tobey Maguire or it's an Andrew Garfield. And to me, it's the start of the incursion. Or maybe Miles, who knows? That being said, if you have the spider tracker and it's off-world, that to me signifies that there's an incursion. That's one of the trains of thought, the incursion or Battle World. Those are the two leading theories at this
My
point.
first thought was Battle World, but also I want to point something out because we kind of glossed over it. Cindy Moon was in that movie.
I didn't catch it.
She was in she was in Dr. Banner's class.
I
And
didn't
I
even
think
catch
she
that.
actually, yeah, I think she actually asked him a question about mutating DNA and stuff, which is funny because if you guys don't know, that is Silk in the
Silk.
comic books.
I wonder if we're just gonna
But
have
yeah,
a big year for Silk when the next Spider-Man game comes out, because she was teased at the end of the Insomniac game too.
dude, Jean Grey's having a big year. Silk could have a big year. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I definitely, to me, I thought immediately, oh, this is Battle World.
Yeah.
But then other people brought up the point that the Spider-Man on Earth never disappeared. Like his sighting was still there. Like his thing was still there. And then another one pops up off in the distance.
Yep. I think
Which
it has
I
to be
thought,
the incursion. I would
dude,
think.
I thought they were gonna show him on the moon first, and I said, "Oh shit, are we getting fucking Inhumans?"
No,
I
I
said
want
they're
J.
like,
Jonah Jameson's son to be the fucking werewolf on the moon. You remember? I don't forget what his character is, but
uh, yeah. But yeah, so obviously we know we're getting Spider-Man. You know, they never said which Spider-Man will be back though.
Jesus Christ.
They just said Spider-Man will be back. But yeah, I definitely think it ties the Battle World because
Yeah.
at this point, I don't think Tom Holland's going to be in Doomsday just because how big his slate was. Because, you know, he's doing the Odyssey, he's doing this Spider-Man movie. I just don't think he had time to fit in Doomsday. Secret Wars, though, I definitely think he's going to be in that. And then we'll probably get another solo Spider-Man movie at some point after that to see the ramifications of Secret Wars.
Yeah, and that has to be the case. I obviously we know we're not getting any Tom Holland projects for Spider-Man in between these next two Avengers films. But that to me signifies as well, like the fact that they're teasing that at the end of the movie. To me, I was thinking the incursion right away. Like I thought of Battleworld because you had been talking about Battleworld, but then I was like, it doesn't make sense where we're leaving off the character of Spider-Man in the MCU. Because where we are
Yeah.
right now at the end of this film, he's just walked away. He's all good, you know, like everything is fine. Unless he just gets teleported, which, you know, obviously they do with Battleworld. But that being
Yeah.
said, I just felt that there has to be the incursion because that's leading into Doomsday and Secret Wars. And it has to be another
Yeah.
variant of Spider-Man, which again leads me to the really scary thought that they're going to fucking kill Toby's character off. Because I think that's what they're going to do. And whether that's
They
Doomsday or
pro-
Secret Wars.
it's gonna happen. I think you're just gonna have to come to accept it. We love Toby. We love what he's done for Spider-Man. We don't need him anymore. We have Tom Holland.
You sound like Colin Coward. It's okay, LeBron. We're good. Shut the fuck up. Leave him alone. Don't kill Toby. But no, I mean, I really did think they were gonna kill Tom Holland at the end of this, and it is weird because trying to push this forward, because now you have to think of what's gonna happen in Secret Wars. By all intents and purposes, you're probably gonna think that him being in Secret Wars is, what are we doing with the symbiote? Can we ask that question? What the fuck is happening with the symbiote?
Tom Holland almost made it seem like he doesn't want to do the symbiote.
But that's just then what the fuck is the point of putting it in the universe?
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if you saw his one interview, but he talked about it. He said the Spider-Man game did the symbiote so well. And he brought up how like people really like the new Spider-Man costume. And with doing the symbiote, they're gonna have to go back to the CGI route. and he's been talking about how he's been listening to the fans. But it's weird because fans want the symbiote as well.
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying. Like he just finally got a suit that mostly wasn't CGI besides like the eyes.
Yeah, and it is still interesting that he had the eye move. I didn't even think anything of it until MJ was talking about the the chip, and so like with his eye movement and stuff like that, that he still had that going on. Like you can tell and you could see it, but until they were talking about, oh well, the magnetic stuff in the eye is stopping the inhibitor chip from working, I was like, that's what I thought about it when they said it. People really don't give a fuck. Like, if it's cool, like in the comics, his eyes change, size and lenses because it's just how you do facial recognition and things, patterns and stuff in the comics, right?
Yeah.
People really don't give a shit. There doesn't have to be an explanation. They gave us one anyway as to why his eyes were moving and stuff, but, they really work as camera lenses.
Yeah. One of the coolest shots I think this was one of the best Spider-Man shots we've ever gotten in a Spider-Man movie, was the one that they did from the point of view of inside his mask on his eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was one of the coolest Spider-Man shots we've ever gotten in any Spider-Man movie.
I also want to say the web swinging was really good. Like we've been talking a lot about like his movement and stuff, and especially in the fight scenes, even when he's fighting the guards in the hand, those are the two best representations. But the web swinging, just going around the city, was also really cool. Yeah. Having the shots of him like POV swinging through the city was very reminiscent to me of The Amazing Spider-Man, which they definitely took inspiration from.
I thought it was really funny when he's learning to use the organic webbing with he had MJ and he's like, release,
and he looked like a freaking psycho.
I want to know what her thought was every fucking time he was doing that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. So, well, I have to get picked up in a little bit, but we can definitely touch more on Spider-Man. I want to sit with it a little bit more. Maybe go see it again one more time, because there are some things that I obviously didn't pick up on. And for the first like 10 minutes of the movie, people were walking up and down the stairs in front of me, so I couldn't fucking even see half of the shots. Luckily, all those shots were put out on the social media anyway of him rounding up villains, but I didn't even get to see a lot of it on the big screen because people couldn't find their seats. Stupid. But yeah.
I also had to pee for like 2 hours, so like I definitely think I need to watch it a second time without having that in the background of like, I gotta pee.
Yeah. Well, on that note then, because I have to catch up on the X-Men episodes too, which now it's going to be a 3-part episode for those things. But yeah, on that note, everybody, thank you very much for watching another episode of the Abnormal Pictures Podcast. Social media links will be in the description below, and we will be back next week for another episode, probably talking more about Spider-Man for the next couple of weeks, because can never stop yapping about Spider-Man. But now, we're just waiting on Doomsday as the next big Marvel project, and that's in December, so there's going to be a big time waiting for that. But we are getting Clayface.
for all the tickets that are already sold out.
Yeah, right. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and catch you next time.